Hello, welcome to the notes for lesson 19. You'll find this begins on page 27 in your notes packet, and you should have the page that looks like the one you see on your screen. So the target for this is I can solve comparison linear equation problems. So we're going to be comparing some things. And I think you'll understand what that's all about when we read some of these problems. First thing I want to do is point out the steps that we're going to be doing and correct some things that you see. So it says 1, write a let statement for each comparison, and the 1 is next to the correct part to this. 2 is to write the equation, so that's this part here, so draw an arrow to that. 3 is to solve the equation. That should actually be this part right here. 4 is to find the comparison. So right now 4 is next to the check. This, you should draw an arrow over to here. That is the comparison, or the answer. And then 5 is to do the check. Now actually, I think there is a 6th step, and that is to write your answer in a sentence if you're answering a question. Now, if you're just finding a number, then you don't have to necessarily write out a sentence. But this is a word problem, so we need to answer this with a sentence. So go to the bottom, add step 6, and step 6 is answer with a complete sentence. And yes, I'm going to look to see who copied this down. So let's see which of you are rule followers and rule breakers. Alright, so now let's go back up and look at this example problem. So 3 friends went apple picking. Veronica picked 8 more apples than Romulus, while Ian picked twice as many apples than Romulus. Together they picked 140 apples. How many apples did each friend pick? I'm going to put a box around this. Why? Because it is the question, and I'm using bucks. So, some important details. Veronica picked 8 more apples than Romulus, and Ian picked twice as many apples as Romulus. Also, we know together they picked 140 apples. What don't we know? Well, we don't know the number of apples Romulus picked, so that is our let statement for our variable, let x equal the number of apples for Romulus. And the reason why we want Romulus to be x is because Veronica and Ian, their number of apples is based on however many Romulus has. So once we figure out that, then we can answer the other 2. So then they tell us together they picked 140 apples. So together means we're going to add all these up. So we have x's for Romulus, x plus 8, because Veronica picked 8 more apples, and obviously twice is 2 times. So we have x plus 8 for Veronica, 2x for the number of apples for Ian. So here's our equation, and then you can see the solve. I'm going to let you walk through this and see if you can make sense of it. We're going to move on to our first example, which is on the next page, page 28. So we have Miss Kula is thinking of 3 numbers. The second number is twice the first. The third number is 1/3 the first. The sum of the numbers is 40. Find the numbers. So I'm going to write bucks because that's my strategy. And yes, I want to see many of you use this. First thing, I'm going to put a box around find the numbers because that's what I need to do. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and circle the second number is twice the first, so 2 times. And the third number is 1/3 the first. And then I know that the sum of the numbers is 40. Sum is add. All right, so I boxed the question. I underlined and circled. They didn't put any useless information in there. So now it's solving time. So what don't I know? Everything is based off of the first number. So there's my let statement. Let x equal the first number. Now, the second number is twice the first. So if the first number is x, 2x is the second number. And then the third number is 1/3 the first. So 1/3 x, or some of you may be capable of understanding this. X over 3 is the same as 1/3 of. That's the third number. All right, so now we need to find the number. They tell us that the sum of the numbers is 40. Sum means I need to add them up. So I've got x plus 2x plus 1/3 x equals 40. All right, so circle this because that is our equation. Okay, part of this process is being able, not only doing the let statement, but writing the correct equation. All right, now I'm going to solve it. So x plus 2x I can do. 3x plus 1/3 x equals 40. Now, I could actually add 3x and 1/3 x, but that might make this more complicated. I'm actually going to get rid of that fraction by multiplying both sides of my equation by 3. And when I do, I get 3 times 3x, which is 9x. 3 times 1/3 x, and this is why I'm multiplying by 3, so I can get rid of that fraction. So I'm multiplying by that denominator, and I get 1/3 times 3 is 1, so 1x or x. And then 3 times 40 is 120. Why did I have to multiply both sides? Well, because what you do on one side of an equation, you got to do on the other. Add 9x and x, and you get 10x equals 120. Divide both sides by 10. And you get your answer, x equals 12. Now, put a box around this. I circled my original, the actual equation. I put a box around what I get when I solve for x. Now, I need to find the comparison. So, the first number is x. So, x equals 12 is the first number. 2x, that's 24. That's my second number, or Miss Kula's second number. And then 1/3 x, so 1/3 times 12 is actually 4. That's the third number. Now, it's important for you to find all the things that are missing. And then, of course, it's also important to do the check. So we're going to do a quick check. So our original equation was x plus 2x plus 1/3 x equals 40. Substitute. So I have 12 plus 2 times 12 plus 1/3 times 12. Now actually, I probably should have done the check first because that would have answered this part up here. So obviously, we have 12 plus 24, and then if you do 1/3 times 12, you'll find that that's 4. It's 40. 12 plus 24 is 36. And 36 plus 4 is 40. This checks, everything is done, I showed all my work, everything's beautiful, nice job, let's move on to the next one. If you need a second to copy it down, hit pause, because I'm about to clear everything. Here we go. Alright, so the next problem, Helen and Bob. Okay, Helen has a basket of apples. Bob has 2/3 the amount of apples in his basket. That's comparing to Helen, of course. If the difference of the amount of apples in their baskets is 9, find the amount of apples Helen and Bob have in their baskets. Okay, so again, I'm using my bucks. Strategy. Put a box around what I'm trying to find. Amount of apples in both of their baskets. Now this is a word problem. This isn't simply finding a number. So I am going to answer this with a sentence. Helen has a basket of apples. So we don't know how much that is. Bob has 2/3 of that amount. We do know that the difference, which is subtraction, of their baskets is 9. So I need a let statement. Since we're basing this all off of Helen, and I don't know how much she has, we're going to let X equal number of apples in Helen's basket. Okay, so if Bob has 2/3 of that amount, then obviously Bob's is going to be 2/3 X equals number of apples in Bob's basket. Yes, you need to write all this down. All right, so what's our equation? Well, we're doing difference. So I got to do X minus 2/3 X equals 9. Okay, so there's your original equation. So put a circle around that. Now, I'm thinking, okay, 1x minus 2/3 x. I'm going to put a 3/3 because that's the same as 1. That gives me a common denominator. 3/3 minus 2/3 is 1/3. So I have 1/3 x equals 9. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 3. If you're wondering what I did in that step above, make sure you ask somebody about it, me or a friend or a parent. Now 3 times 1/3, the reason why I'm multiplying by 3 is to get rid of that fraction. I got x equals 27. So I have my solution. Let's do the check first this time, just to make sure it works out. Alright, so the check. X minus 2/3 x equals 9 is my E. So now I'm going to substitute 27 in. So I get 27 minus 2/3 times 27, or of 27, equals 9. And 2/3 of 27 is 18. So 27 minus 18 is 9, so 9 equals 9. This checks out beautifully. Okay, so Helen has 27. So Bob, as you notice, has 18. So our sentence to end this will be, Helen has 27 apples in her basket. Well, let's do this. 2/3 x equals 18. So that is so that I know how many are in each. Let's write our sentence. Helen has 27 apples in her basket. And Bob has 18 apples in his basket. Period. Okay, I know this video is running long, so I'm going to hustle it up. Alright, on the next page there's 2 more problems. I'm going to give you the solution for them on page 29. And I'm going to expect you to try it on your own. The solution for the first one is x equals 80. Now that doesn't answer everything, that just tells you what your variable should be. And then the answer for the one below that is x equals 4. Again, That's only part of the total solution. Okay, this video has gone on long enough. If you have any questions, come see me, get help from a friend, ask a parent, rewatch the video. Good luck, and I'll see you in math.